Hello, hello, hello. I hope that we are on my headset because, okay, it says we are. Let's hope so. I am at a weird angle because the sun is like literally right here. And so, trying to do this at my desk gives weird shadows. And then I tried to angle it this way, and the lighting was great, but then you could see all of my business stuff and people's information. So I have a bit of a chalkboard method thing going on. Oh, of course, now there's going to be clouds. Today is just going to be that day, y'all. Uh, nope, that didn't help. All right, well, we're going to make it work. The lighting is weird. I'm really sorry. I had a couple other options in place, but like out in the living room, the light was just cascading right off the table and into my eyeballs. So I'm like, we're gonna have to do this in here. Um, I'm putting this on 2 channels, I think. We'll see how that ends up. I'm gonna take these off because the glare is there. Um, I have hit the point of clinical burnout, and I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about um how I'm gonna get out of this and um how I hope with this video to help you not experience burnout in the first place, because I would not wish how I feel on anyone. How do I know it's burnout? Well, I had a bit of a mental breakdown on Friday, and over the last couple of weeks, they have been consistently happening. And then on Friday, they happened towards someone else. Um, and I had done a really good job up until that point of not involving anyone else and internalizing all of that, which is probably how part of how we got here. Um, and then lo and behold, I had been saying for the last 6 months that I felt really burnt out. But I hadn't really understood what I knew intrinsically that that's what was happening, and within I knew that what that was happening, but I knew that that was happening. However, then in my YouTube feed, coincidentally, there was a video from a psychologist and a sociologist about actual clinical burnout, a person who studies this and talking about what causes it. And I watched that video, and it was a lot. And she said there are 3 main symptoms. Here's what they are. And I was like, oh, huh. I've had all of those for about 7 or 8 months now, maybe 9 even. And they were depersonalization, um, and thinking that everybody hates you, kind of thing, or everybody strongly dislikes you and they're just pretending to like you. I've had that for years, um, but that's probably more a mental health barrier than anything else. And based on what I said when I had my breakdown on Friday, that's exactly what's happening to me. So, in an effort to try and keep myself from having to go somewhere for 72 hours, I'm really gonna try to fix this. And today I'm gonna make a phone call to try to get some mental health help, because I don't know how I'm going to pay for that. Like, that's been the biggest barrier to doing that thus far is finances, because I live in the US and they don't give a shit. Um, but it's important, and I think my insurance covers a few sessions at least. So I'm hoping to use those, and hopefully, maybe, I don't know if I want meds or if I need meds or if what exactly I'm needing, but I know that I need something different than what I've had. Um, so one thing that keeps popping in my head every this morning, and it just keeps replaying in my head over and over and over again, is this idea of purpose, direction, and motivation, and how I have not felt like I've had any for quite some time. I've tried to have some. I've had to have some purpose. That was the other thing she talked about. She goes, honestly, a lot of people think it's about the stuff that you're doing, or doing stuff, or doing too much stuff. But in reality, what it actually is that the stuff you're doing doesn't feel impactful and worthwhile. And that's how I felt for a long time. Like, what I have done and what I'm doing isn't making a difference in my life. That nothing that I have done as of late has mattered. It hasn't moved the needle at all. And in fact, some of the things that I have done have actually set me backward. And that is disheartening on a level that is extra, right? My motivation has never really been guided by money, which could be part of my problem right now because I can't even seem to make enough to make ends meet. Like I was doing that for about 6 months at the beginning of last year. Like, I really was finally where I have needed to be for years and could not get to at a physical job, could not get to on my own. And I was finally making real money, and that was great. Thank God I saved that real money because I would be in a world of hurt right now. And I'm not quite there yet. I'm getting there though, and I'm starting to feel that squeeze. And so that's why I've started to try to do other things, right? When my bookkeeping business, which I've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years, has really started to take a tumble. I went from 11 clients down to four. One of them was, well, one of them was basically five people, five clients. So when his stuff dropped off, everything else, all the rest of them went with it. Um, and that wasn't anything I did. It wasn't anything he even did. It's just the market that he's in kind of took a dive, and it's been hard. I haven't lost him as a client, but I'm not getting the work and the pay for that stuff. So technically, I still have those clients, but I'm not actively doing the work. Therefore, I'm not counting that as a client. Um, and then I had a few others that dropped off due to the economy and not having enough work to, and one of them medically retired. So it's just been a lot in a really short period of time. It was like boom, 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 right? It was like dominoes fell. And um, I actively tried for 6 months to get more clients. I got one, which is great. I'm happy. It's great. Um, however, one client does not replace seven. You know what I'm saying? And she came in before, well, no, she came in after, but like, yeah, one client doesn't replace seven. Um, so then I started, finally was like, okay, maybe I should ask the question, right? So about a month or two ago, and I really should have asked this question earlier in this process. I asked the question, okay, well, I went into quite a number of Facebook groups and asked the question, where are you finding your bookkeeper? Where did you find them? Where did you locate them? Where did you meet them? How long have you known them? That sort of thing, right? And then I went into bookkeeper groups, 4 or 5 of them, and asked the same, where are you finding clients? How long have you known them before they became a client, et cetera, et cetera. The responses were not positive for me. I don't have the mental capacity right now or the time to spend a year or more courting new people. I don't have that kind of time. I don't. My finances will not survive that. And nor do I have the money or the time to start courting a bunch of CPAs right this second. Okay. So in the same time that I was trying to build that back up to where it needed to be, I was also trying to build the soap business, which if you're in the soap channel, you're like, why am I watching this video? Here we are. And I was doing it in a way that I think has contributed to this burnout because I had no systems in place to manage what I was trying to do. And the growth that I was trying to obtain, I couldn't financially back it. Right? The two things didn't seem to align. I was trying really hard because I needed the income to start coming in. And I knew that if I got into boutiques and I got into some wholesale orders and some, some larger orders, that the financial side of things would start to turn around and it would at least pay for the soap business. That was my thought. However, every boutique in this area where I live, none of them do proper wholesale. They do consignment. And the way that the consignment works here, it's not, hey, here, go put your soaps in my business and I'll sell it and I'll give you a portion. It's, hey, pay me rent. And on top of your rent, also pay me a percentage. So, and for that, what that looks like, one of them I looked at was $100 a month. And then they wanted 10% on top of that. I'm like, it's, and I'm sure because most of what they have in that store is t-shirts and clothing. So you're talking about probably $25 to $30 products. And so that can make sense, right? 4 shirts and you've covered your rent, right? Or most of your rent. 4 to 5 shirts with soaps that are $8 a bar. I have to sell like 40 to 60 soaps just to clear that. Not to mention because I may be making half of that or a little over half of that as profit, right? So at that point, I have to sell like 100 bars of soap a month, 60 to 100 bars of soap a month just to clear and break even, let alone to be profitable. So I think, if you are a boutique owner and you're watching this and you want to expand beyond clothing, I think that you really need to take into consideration when you're setting these premium rents, what that looks like for a business owner when the product is only $8. You're not going to get people to come in because that's exorbitant. And it's not like a t-shirt. So if you're in a clothing business, that makes sense. T-shirts take up considerably more space than a soap. So we shouldn't be paying the same as somebody who has shirts. Anyway, I digress. So this is what I was finding like routinely. I talked to 4 or 5 boutiques. I had one that only wanted $10 a month, but the shelf was literally this big. It was like the IKEA lack shelf, the little square guy, the teeny tiny guy. That's all they were for $10 per shelf. And again, at $8 a bar, I have to sell 3 bars just to break even on that every month. At least 3 bars just to break even, let alone to make any profit. And that one was a good deal. We got COVID and I have been literally sick since December 7th in one fashion or another. I got COVID, and then I had a sinus infection for a month and a half, and I then also had on top of that had a UTI and other infections, and it's just been like one thing after the other. Not to mention all of the migraines that happen post COVID. For people who suffer from migraines, they go through a period of months of migraines where you have more migraines than you don't. I'll put it like that. So things have been, and I sent a message to her. She never responded, so I figured we were done. But again, that also goes back to that whole like, do I have the systems in place to be able to handle that structure? And the answer was no. And I don't have, so as all this is happening, I find I need to shift gears in my bookkeeping business because I cannot wait this long to have clients and I need income coming in. So I either need to go get a job or I need to find another avenue to make money. And yeah, so here we are. And coincidentally, I think the thing that I want to do for other people is the very thing that I need to do for me, right? And that is create these systems and put them in place. So I think what that looks like for me to get myself out of burnout, to give myself purpose, direction, and motivation, what that looks like is a schedule. I'm already starting the process of getting up earlier, which hopefully means I go to bed sooner because lately it's been about 11 to 12, and I really need to get it to earlier. It looks like, okay, it was actually giving me a headache to not have my glasses on, so trying to like see things and it was bothering me. So I'm gonna try and do this maybe, or this angle. Okay. So setting a schedule. I'm also going to be, I've already removed Facebook off of my phone. I'm going to remove it off of my tablet too, because that's something that I had noticed that I've started to do again. I'll wake up in the middle of the night, I'll look at Facebook. I'll wake up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock when my husband gets up to go to work. I'm looking at Facebook. It's a dopamine thing. I'm trying to get that because I'm not making it on my own, which is another barrier to my mental health thing that I need to work on. So both of those things are going to go off. Hopefully, that'll help calm some things down. We are going to, or I am going to, within that schedule, because I have two businesses, I am going to work on certain things on certain days. And I'm no longer actively looking for bookkeeping clients. That if they come to me and they say, hey, so and so recommended you, I'd love to chat with you about this, I will talk with them. But I'm not just going to accept new clients just to accept new clients. They're going to have to be a really good fit. And I think I'm also going to have some systems in place with regards to one thing that happened recently is I think I lost out on a really big job opportunity because I didn't have a website set up with my VA rates. And it's something that I haven't done in years. It's just not something that I've kept up with, simply because I wasn't doing that anymore. I had all the bookkeeping clients I could handle. And so I didn't have a website. I didn't have a link to schedule a meeting with me or anything like that. And part of the reason for that was because my neurodivergence does not allow for me to have an appointment scheduler. However, Um, it's necessary, frankly. And a friend of mine was like, well, why don't you just give like one day? You at least have something on there. And then on there, it also says, hey, if you don't see the day that you're looking for, reach out to me and we can schedule something. So that's something I'm looking into doing, is just actively having a 1 or 2 days a week and 1 or 2 times that I allow people to schedule. And then I think I need somebody to test it so that my neurodivergence and my anxiety doesn't go awry. And I know what happens when somebody actually uses those links, because I've done this in the past and I missed a meeting because the system I was using didn't send me any kind of notification until an hour before, and I wasn't even home. And I didn't check my schedule because there was nothing on there, you know? And anyway, it was a whole thing. So I need to make sure that whatever scheduling tool I pick is the right scheduling tool for for my needs. Um, let's see what else. Schedule systems. Um, and when people start to talk to me about things, I need to utilize those systems that I've set up and put in place. Because that was the other thing. Like I had all of these forms and all of these things, and people would come to me and I would just do everything manually. I would have a conversation with them manually. I would schedule with them manually, and it just took an enormous amount of time just to get a person in to find out whether or not that was even viable. For the soap business, I'm no longer looking to be in boutiques right now. And when I am ready for that, it will be on a wholesale basis only. I'm not doing consignment because it doesn't make sense for as inexpensive as my products are, unless it is just the right consignment deal. And even then, I don't know. That just seems there's no motivation for them to sell my products when they're on consignment, right? When they bought the product outright, guess what? They have all the motivation in the world to sell it because they've paid for it. So there's that. Um, let's see. I think I'm going to talk more about this in the future, but there's just going to have to be like some regulation because I think once I start seeing the needle, not the moodle, the needle actually moving forward in something, like that's the thing with all of this testing that I've been doing with my soaps, is that it feels like something is actually happening. That's why I kept doing things in that business because stuff was actually happening versus everything else is just felt like nothing was actually working. And so I just stopped doing everything. And I can't do that, right? I need to adapt and overcome. To use yet another army term, adapt and overcome. Um, I need to do that with regards to um, my OBM business. So there's the thing. Um, the reason I stopped being a VA is because I kind of hit an income cap and I felt like the work I was doing wasn't really impactful simply because the people I was working for didn't have the systems in place that they needed to have in place in order for my role to be effective and actually helpful, right? And had they had those in place before they hired me, things would have been better. Um, and so that is something that I want to do for people. I want to help them get the systems in place that will allow them to hire people and actually get more work done rather than making more work for themselves, because that is exactly what happened. These people who hired me made more work for themselves, and I don't want anyone else to feel that way. Not to mention the fact that, again, as we started this whole conversation with, when you feel like the work that you're doing isn't actually having an impact, that is a recipe for burnout. And so I am going through that again, and I've already been here. And this feels 10 times worse this time than it did last time. Um, because last time I had already started taking on bookkeeping clients. No, I don't have any other growth or avenue. I'm kind of starting over again, and that sucks, and I hate it, and I just never feel like um I'm not feeling useful, and that is an issue. Um, anyway, I hope that you have a good day. I hope that this was helpful. I hope you got some ideas. We'll be talking about this some more, and I'll be kind of going through like, how's it going? I'll give you some updates on my burnout situation, how it's going, how my schedule situation is going, because I tend to rebel against those things and struggle with those things. So we're gonna try like hell. I have some ideas there. Like if I'm working on one thing and I get an idea for something else, I need a notebook or something to jot down the idea and then get right back to work, because that's something that I tend to struggle with as well. And when I'm laying in bed and I'm supposed to be going to bed, I get ideas that just go whoosh, here, have these. And I'm like, shit, I can't handle this right now. I'm trying to be going to bed. Trying to go to bed here, not think about yet another thing to do for my business. So, anyway, I hope that you all have a good day. I hope that you are in a much better place than I am. And if you are not, I hope that you know who you can call for help, um, because your mental health matters and you matter. And I want what's best for you. So, anyway, I'm wearing my Illinois shirt. They won last night. Pretty excited about that. Have a good day. I'll talk to y'all later. See ya. Bye.